Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming to the first session of our Transfer Summer Workshop. This is hosted through New Student and Transition Programs. My name is Olivia Hayes. Pronouns are she, her, hers, Aya, and I am the current grad intern with New Student and Transition Programs. And we wanted to provide this series of workshops for you. That way you have the opportunity to get connected with all of our campus partners and get connected to those resources ahead of time, keep you engaged and excited to come to Cal Poly. So first off is the agenda. Today we are talking about financing college and transfer student needs. You're going to be hearing from student accounts, financial aid, EOP, the library, basic needs, and then you will also have the opportunity to join one or both of the breakout sessions with military connected students and the Disability Resource Center. And looking ahead as well, we also have our two other sessions held in July and August. The next one will be Tuesday, July 11th, focusing on health, community, and services at Cal Poly. You're going to be hearing about the academic advising experience that will be hosted by Heather within the Transfer Center. She is a great contact to get connected with early on. You'll also be hearing from Career Services, Office of Student Research, Campus Health and Wellbeing, and Student Diversity and Belonging. And then looking further ahead, all the way in August, Monday, August 21st, we will talk about getting involved at Cal Poly. You're going to hear from Poly Reps, ASI, Clubs and Org, Greek Life, Center for Service and Action, and Center for Leadership. So thank you all for attending this first session, and I'm going to hand it off to John, who will be representing student accounts.
The supporters of first years. But I want to cover mostly the same material, just from a different standpoint, because we're actually speaking to you and not the supporters, which is even better from our office's standpoint, because ultimately the one important rule of the road involves you, and we want to make sure that you are aware of that. So today we're going to talk about that one important rule of the road. Quickly, some valuable resources that are available to you. I will touch on the Jerry Maguire inspiration, but more importantly, just really briefly, what to pay, when to pay, how to pay those charges. We have a financial aid primer we normally do, but I'm going to defer that to the folks in the financial aid office. I think Allie will be taking care of that right after I'm done. Maybe we get into some the punch list, but most importantly, it's the first 4 bullet items as far as we are concerned. The most important rule of the road is if you were on a travel and you were in London and you get out of the airport, you get in the car, and you start driving on the road, you realize in England, they drive on the other side of the road. We would say the wrong side, right? The left side's the right side side's the wrong side. And it's a really immutable law. You can go ahead and say that's silly, nobody should do it that way. But the reality is it's the rule of the road. And when in England, you drive on the left side or you put yourself in peril. Our rule of the road here at Cal Poly is this is your education. It's your account. Everything that goes on with the student account is ultimately your responsibility. Hopefully you have some supporters who are helping you out, maybe paying some bills and stuff like that, but understand we are only going to communicate with you. We're not going to talk to anybody else unless you authorize us to do that, and we're not sending emails to anybody but you. So when you get that email that says you have something that's past due and you need to address it, it's not going anywhere else. You're getting that email. So this is the most important rule, and if you get nothing else out of my time with you, that is the thing to pay attention to. Ultimately, this education is your responsibility, and ultimately you own the liability of getting it paid for. So we drive everything through you. All communication is done through the student, mostly by email, but also by through the Money Matters tab of your Cal Poly portal. The best general resource that we have for you is not even in that portal, but we do have a great general resource for everybody, and it is our website. That website is sa.calpoly.edu. S short for student, A short for accounts.calpoly.edu. When you type that into the address bar, it will resolve to the student accounts web page. This is kind of what it looks like. This is what it looked like several years ago. We have not updated the slide deck yet, but you can see that there's some important dates for the upcoming quarter that are listed. There's also lots of other important information, but I did circle the user guides because those user guides, which are now video guides, have step-by-step instructions on anything and everything that may be required of you through our office. So sa.calpoly.edu is a great general resource. Share that with your supporters if you have them, and make sure that they understand that the general due dates are listed there. All kinds of useful information. We got great calculators there to understand how expensive this education is going to be on a first year basis. You can really dial it in based on what housing you have, if you're using dining, which college you are attending, because each college has its own fee structure, mildly different, but still different. So that's sa.calpoly.edu. Then for you, the best general resource is Money Matters. Money Matters is in your Cal Poly portal. Once you log into the main screen at my.calpoly.edu, it will appear on a laptop or a regular computer screen right across the top in a tab. It says Money Matters, and what it will show you is account balance summaries, as well as what's due and when into which bucket. I'll show it to you in a moment. Do recommend, this is general financial literacy, that you check Money Matters on a regular basis. Fees are going to change as you get enrolled. Other things may post to the account. You will get emails mostly when charges are posting, but it always is a good idea just in life. Check your Money Matters on a regular basis. And we recommend maybe making Monday a Money Matters Monday. Do you remember all communications go to you? Charges are viewable in the Money Matters tab. Let's take a peek at what that looks like. This is a sample student from, again, several years ago, but the numbers are a little larger, but this is an in-state student in a term payment plan for a fall quarter with housing and dining for the remaining portion of the year. The student does have financial aid, which is deferring those charges that are listed as deferred by financial aid. So that means due dates associated with those deferred charges can be ignored while we're waiting for financial aid to disperse. And I think Ali will touch a little bit more about what that process looks like. What we'll tell you is financial aid never goes into the account until about a week before classes begin. All right, so this is what it looks like in Money Matters. And then the next tab, this unpaid charges tab, shows what's due and when into which bucket. We have 3 entities here on campus. The state runs the education portion of what we do. Housing, university housing, takes care of all the housing issues. And then campus dining is managed by the Cal Poly Corporation. 3 different entities. We're posting charges and collecting payments for all 3. So when you make a payment to housing, it's going to go to housing. We can't just move it willy-nilly into some other bucket. So make sure when you are making payments or payments are being made on your behalf that they're going into the right bucket. We can move them, but it's a very manual process. It will not happen automatically. So let's see, what else do we have here? All other things that are going on in the Money Matters tab, your Cal Poly portal. That's one way to access your financial aid and accept and decline awards. That's what's there. And then notifications, aid, disbursement, all that stuff is being managed mostly through emails, sometimes in the Student Center, as well as in Money Matters. Those are the 3 places you're going to want to pay attention to. But do make sure you pay attention to your Cal Poly email. And as we tell supporters, it's a student account. What do we have for supporters? We do have parent or supporter payment capabilities, and we have supporter share my information reports. This is the way that you would share with your supporter what's going on your student account, so they can see pretty much everything you see in Money Matters without them clawing around in your Cal Poly portal. Share my information reports look very similar to what you see in Money Matters. The numbers are the same. See, there's Money Matters and there's the Share My Information report. It does also have charges due by due date, just like this the unpaid charges subtab. So either way, they can see a lot of what they need to see, including that financial aid deferral. You set up Share My Information reports, through a module that's in the bottom of Money Matters in your portal. So you go to Money Matters, scroll all the way to the bottom. There's a box that says share my information. You click on add new report, and then you plug in information and email address for your supporters, as well as you can check boxes for what they see in their report. You control how much or little is viewable in those reports by any of your supporters. And you can make multiple reports for multiple people. Some people can see this, others can see that. In Share My Information reports, by the way, you can share grades. It's not required, but you can share your grades if you have somebody asking to see them and you're okay with that. All right. Now, if you have any general questions with our office, we are available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 by phone. That's the information on how to get a hold of us. I've got great student assistants who are better than I am at explaining all of this. They're very well trained, and we'll happily walk through any questions you might have with what's going on with the student account. Charges, payments, the application of financial aid after it has left the financial aid office and dispersed to us, and we've applied it to fees. Those are all questions that are great questions for the student accounts office. One last thing to talk about in general is this FERPA. It's a Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. We are not able to respond to the specific financial account questions by anybody but you, the student, without your express permission. Now, in Money Matters, in your Cal Poly portal, right below the Go Make a Payment Now button, are several self-service options, and one of them says authorized to release. And you can click on that, and there you can enter somebody's name. You're going to assign them a 4-digit PIN or access code. Make sure when you assign them that code that you tell them what it is, because we do ask them when they call our office, what's your name and what's your 4-digit access code? And if they don't know the access code, we cannot effectively release any information to them. So make sure you share that with them. So, and you're going to put a bunch of other stuff that's in there as well. You do need to assign multiple offices, so there will be multiple lines to your authorization likely. If you have financial aid, you're going to want to assign the 3 options that are available in the financial aid office. And if you want to assign student financial services, that's student accounts, then we have 2 options that you can assign or authorize the release of information. So really quick, here's the checklist for right now. It is your student account. Please remember that when you're talking with supporters, make sure that you are understanding that you have to share information with them and you actively control what they get to see or don't get to see, or what they get to hear from us. Should they call our office or should they call the financial aid office? Good financial sense. Check your Money Matters regularly. Fees will post. They will be viewable in there. That way, if something does go wrong and something doesn't get paid, you won't be as surprised because you'll know it's been out there. Set up Share My Information if you want to do that. Authorized to release is the way that you release your information. So quickly, what to pay. As I mentioned before, we really have 3 buckets: registration and other fees managed by the state, housing charges managed by university housing, dining charges managed by campus dining and the Cal Poly Corporation. We communicate with the student when charges are posting to the account, mostly by email, also through Money Matters. The one time we are not going to talk to you when we post charges is when you enroll in classes. We charge based on enrollment. When you go in and get enrolled in classes, you would then go back into your Money Matters and you'll see the fees there. We do not send you an email because you basically put those classes into a shopping cart and purchased them. Registration and other fees are posted for the quarter because you're only enrolling on a per quarter basis. Housing and dining charges are going to post. Should you be in either of those entities, they're going to post for the whole year and be spread out over monthly due dates and amounts. What you see in your housing balance, like what we saw on that previous screen, that housing balance isn't all due up front. It's spread out, monthly due dates and amounts spread out throughout the year. And I think I'm going to pretty much leave it at that. We have this other thing we talk with the supporters about. It's the Jerry Maguire inspiration. But most importantly, it's just understanding this is what's due. This is about when it's due. Your fees are going to be due August 20. They're going to be past due August 22nd this year. And they're going to post for registration and other fees when you enroll in classes, which I do not believe is going to happen until sometime as well in August. So there's going to be a pretty fast turnaround there, and you do want to be ready for that. Do go to sa.calpoly.edu and use our calculator to get a better understanding of what those quarterly charges are going to be. And then one last thing for all of you, when you have term charges, and they can add up to a lot. I mean, look, we're talking about an education, even at the California state level, that's getting close to $4,000 per quarter. And that's a big chunk of money, and we understand that. You do not have to pay it all up front. If you want help spreading out the payments for that quarter for fall, go ahead and enroll in a term payment plan. It is not done automatically for you like housing and dining. The fees just post with one due date, but you can go into your student center and enroll in a term payment plan any quarter where that upfront cost seems a little bit overwhelming for you. And that's done through your student center. Want to know how to do it? We have guides in our website. Those video guides have step-by-step instructions on how to handle all of those items. So that's basically all I've got for you. That's what student accounts is: charges, payments, and the application of aid after it has released by the financial aid office, what we call disperse.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate the applause.
John,
yes.
Somebody asked if you can go back to the to-do list.
The punch list, the short punch list.
I believe so.
Yeah, I can. It's right there. That's the short punch list. There's a longer one we actually run in this presentation. But this is the consolidated version of what you all need to know for right now. Because your timetable is going to be driven by when you get enrolled in those fall quarter classes, because until then, you will not see those fees for registration and other fees. Housing and dining is supposed to post. If you are in university housing, those housing fees are supposed to post in the second week in August, with due dates again, September 1 through May 1.
Awesome. Any other questions? Oh, Jose asked, when can we enroll for classes? But that would be a question for another department.
Yes, it is. Cool.
Awesome. Well, with that, I will give it to Heather from financial aid.
Awesome, thanks. Let me share my screen. Okay, so my name's Heather. I'm a financial aid counselor. I've been a financial aid counselor for 5.5 years. Real fast, I'm just going to go over this. Hopefully everyone has completed a financial aid application. Even if you don't believe that you qualify for financial aid, you may qualify for, or everyone qualifies for loans, which loans do count as a form of financial aid. The application is still open. Some people may have heard of the March 2nd deadline. This is a priority deadline for California residents and for grant funding. It's also a deadline for the California DREAM Act application. The FAFSA is still open to complete. So the types of aid that Cal Poly has are scholarships. We have inside scholarships and outside scholarships. Inside scholarships are scholarships that are given to directly by Cal Poly, and then outside scholarships are company, or you could receive it from an outside source. For grants, we have institutional grants, state grants, and federal grants, all of which you can apply for, or you're applied for by completing your financial aid application. Then we have loans. loans come in the form of federal loans or private loans. The subsidized loan and unsubsidized loans are the loans that are in the student's name. Parent Plus loans are in the parent's name. And then there's private loans, which students can apply for. They do have to have a line of credit for applying for those. And then parents can also apply for private loans. If you have more questions, I highly recommend setting up a meeting with a counselor. And then we offer Work Study. Work Study is a program where the federal government pays 75% of the student's paycheck. The student would receive a paycheck like any other employee, but it's just basically where the funding is coming from for their paycheck. Cal Poly scholarships. This is a big question. Cal Poly scholarship application will be available in early fall, and this is for anyone to apply for. The application is a common application, and it is in your portal on your homepage on the left-hand side under My Apps. You just scroll down to Cal Poly scholarships. We will also send out an email to students when the application is open to apply. So you'll get a reminder of when that's open. When we say students should devote time to finding scholarships year-round, we're referring to outside scholarships. We do have a link for outside scholarships. There isn't exactly, it's not a scholarship bulletin board any longer, but there are 9 different search engines on there for outside in order to look for outside scholarships. And then we also give helpful resources on where students can look and find outside scholarships. And then that's the link for it. Obviously you can't click on it, but you can take a picture. So the Student Center, this is an important page for financial aid reasons. In order to find your financial aid, on the left-hand side, financial aid, you can view your financial aid. And then on the right-hand side, if there's any holds and warnings or any to-do list items put on there by the financial aid office, it could hold up financial aid disbursement. So it is important to make sure that nothing on there, that basically you've completed everything that's on the to-do list. So the Money Matters tab, John already kind of went over like the account summary section. Money Matters tab is an important tab to keep tabs on. And under financial aid and scholarships, we do have the authorized to release link, which he went over. And then you can view your financial aid, accept, decline awards. This is important if you are wanting to use loans, work study, or if there's a scholarship that you need to accept. This is the location that you'll click in order to accept or decline your awards. And then it's also a quick place to go and see your to-do list. Below, we kind of highlight the section for the student accounts websites. It just gives information. They have a great website. This is an example of an award. There are grants on there and loans. This student has not accepted their subsidized or unsubsidized loan. And so the aid offered is a different amount than the aid accepted. If you are wanting to use loans in order to fund your education, make sure that you go into that location on your Money Matters tab where it says accept, decline awards, and make sure that you accept your subsidized loan. If it is your first time accepting loans, you will have to-do list items that need to be completed. You will have entrance counseling and a master promissory note. Entrance counseling is basically a tutorial of what it's like to take out loans. And then the master promissory note is a contract with the federal government saying, I know that this is going to accrue interest, and then you sign it. So this is very common. Basically, where's my money? If your money hasn't dispersed. So money for fall quarter disperses on 9/14. This means that it leaves financial aid in term and away and goes to your student account. So it'll pay any balances that you have. First, it pays tuition and registration. If there's anything left over, then it'll go to housing and dining. This is important to start looking for, like, if it's financially deferred. So back on the Money Matters tab on the account summary section, it'll let you know what is financially deferred and what is not. Usually for students, it is very common for dining to not be completely covered and for students to have to start making payments. And so make sure that you're paying attention to that page. If you have questions, you can contact my office, financial aid, or you can contact student accounts. And then for refunds, any excess financial aid, either direct deposits to the student or is mailed via check to the address on file, mostly to the parents if it's a Parent Plus loan refund. And then there may be delays. If the student is not enrolled in 12 units, your grants may need to be reduced. If this is the case, it'll happen after add drop. We will lock the students in the units that they are in, and then counselors will go through and manually reduce any financial aid that needs to be reduced per policy. If you have outstanding items on your to-do list, so this could be the student was selected for verification, which means that we need to verify tax documents and the information that you included on the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act application. If this is the case and you still have to-do list items, we are waiting on them. If you have questions, no question is a dumb question, definitely reach out to the financial aid office. If there's something on there and you feel that you have already submitted it and it's been longer than 3 to 5 days and that item has not flipped yet off of your to-do list, please contact our office. There may have been a glitch in the system. And then not accepting aid. So if you were anticipating, if you only have loans on your award and you did not accept your loans and you had planned on using them, this could be a reason why it's not dispersing. So for special conditions or special circumstances, this would be if, so on the FAFSA or on the California DREAM Act application, they are requesting 2021 financial information for the 2023-2024 applications. If you or your family's financial situation has changed drastically since 2021, say a parent lost a job, a parent retired, your parents may be split. It could be any number of these things. We can do what's called a change of income process or put you through one of the special circumstances or special conditions form options. It could also be maybe you get married, anything to where the financial data that you put on the financial aid application no longer is applicable to your financial situation, we can make changes. If you have any special circumstances, definitely reach out to a financial aid counselor. You can do so by contacting financialaid@calpoly.edu or calling and asking to being transferred to your financial aid counselor. The alphabet or the student alphabet is divided up between 5 counselors, and you will be placed with 1 counselor in order to set up a meeting. We do have virtual meetings available. And then if you have any questions for me, there's usually a lot of financial aid questions, so feel free.
Thank you, Heather. So it looks like in the chat, Amir asked, is there a deadline as to when we should accept subsidized loans?
There's not technically a deadline. I would say if you want to use them to pay for school, definitely have them done. I would say aim for the end of August, early September, and that way everything can be done and it's ready for fall disbursement on 9/14.
Awesome. And I think you might have answered a part of this, but Diego asked, he said, I've accepted my awards, but it's still on my to-do list. Does that mean I still have something to do?
Yes. So if you've accepted your awards, it depends on what is on your award, but I would reach out to financial aid. Just email financialaid@calpoly.edu and your question will either be answered by our front staff or it'll be transferred to a counselor in order for you to discuss further with the counselor.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any other questions?
And there is always a counselor in the office. If you would like to meet with a counselor, counselors are there from 10 a.m. To 3 p.m. with no one's available from 12 to 1. But you can either call Monday through Thursday, the front office, or come to the front counter Monday through Friday. These are the hours that the front counter is available. And then if you want to set up a virtual counseling appointment, you can include supporters or your parents and just send them the links. But all counselors have virtual appointments available, and yeah, you can schedule them anytime you want. And if you have questions about how much maybe in loans your parents need to take out, if you're concerned how you're going to pay for college, anything like this, budgeting, especially transfers if you're living off campus, how that looks, timelines for things, definitely feel free to set up we do budget meetings, counselors do budget meetings. We'll go over kind of what it looks like to be living off campus and SLO. Yeah, so we're open and available for any questions like that. We're kind of your one-stop shop financial guidance.
Great. It looks like we have one more question. Matthew said, when will we be able to have access to the scholarship application for Cal Poly?
It'll be during fall quarter. The exact deadline, I do not know.
Alrighty. Any other questions? Alrighty, well, thank you so much, Heather.
Absolutely.
We are going to move forward and we're going to hear from EOP. So I will hand that off to Roberto.
Hello, everybody. Transfers, congratulations on making it out. I'm also a transfer student. I came from Santa Monica College, and I promise that my Santa Monica Jays were very transformational, because that's when I started to learn more about myself, how to navigate higher ed, just because I am first generation and none of my parents went to college. So with that being said, let me break it down. So the Educational Opportunity Program. So this is primarily going to be meant for students who are in EOP. So if you got an email regarding EOP, you're pretty much in the program. So this is specifically for y'all. Moreover, in EOP, what we're trying to do, we're also trying to have an event for y'all. So let me give you a quick breakdown. So basically, this is what I'll be talking about. What's EOP? Introduction to the counseling team, program services, campus resources, application timeline pointers, SLO and WOW days, important dates and deadlines, and how to stay connected. So check it out. EOP is a historical program. It exists within all 23 of the California State Universities. This is a program born within social justice and community building, because prior in the 1960s, the California State Universities didn't have a university that reflected the student body, that the only type of students of color that were in the universities were veterans and student athletes. So basically, because of La Raza Student Union and Black Student Union back at Cal State Northridge, they collaborated, they came together, and came the birth of the EOP program. It historically started at San Francisco State, but pretty much the EOP program was created to help develop a holistic approach, a not one lens fits all type of approach, counseling to students who are first gen low income. So it pretty much has been around for more than 50 years. The EOP program at Cal Poly SLO has been around for about 50 years as well. It started around 1968. So pretty much if you're an EOP, you're in it for a reason. You're in it because we really do believe in our students, but more importantly, we do our best to service the students. So pretty much this is the counseling team. I'm Roberto, you can call me Rob. I'm a newest counselor. I moved in from Los Angeles. I've done about 5 years in Upward Bound. That's my colleagues right there, Cynthia Diaz. She's been the longest counselor here at EOP. And my coworker there, Drex, he's also been a Cal Poly for about a year or two. He's also from Bakersfield, Fresno, so give him a quick shout out if you ever see him. So these are the services we offer. We offer personally counseling. The way I like to look at it is that it's pretty easy to come and reach to us. We pretty much service anybody, like all 6 colleges. We offer assistance in course scheduling, so you can shoot us an email. We'd like to connect you with campus resources like the Cal Poly Care Grant, or really anything else that we can see that can benefit you. We offer an EOP annual grant, which can go up to 1,000 or 1,200. So again, it's not a lot, but again, I can make 1,000 last for a month. So I'm just letting y'all know that. We offer a food cabinet, so students can go in our little cabinet, get food and snacks. We also are going to have a study space with Cal Poly Scholars. So it's going to be great. It's going to be in the fall. So a lot of our EOP students can go there, study whenever they want, a space straight for them. So it's going to be great. We offer free test supplies, Scantrons, Blue Books. I miss them when they were free back in high school, but hey, capitalism, am I right? So we also collaborate a lot with the Transfer Center. So you'll see us do a bunch of events with Heather. We recently did a big, fantastic, great cupcake decorating event. A lot of our Cal Poly transfer students and transfer students, we came together E29. We had a big space for them. They were decorating cupcakes, playing card games, music, but really things like that that really alleviate the stress on the student, that make them feel welcome. At the same time, they meet us with the counselors or our EOP counselors saying, hey man, how you doing? How's classes? How can I help you? Because in Cal Poly can be overwhelming at times. Me being first year, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't even come here and I feel overwhelmed, but knowing that we do our best to collaborate with the transfer center or anyone we can to make sure you, the transfer students, feel belonged, but more importantly, persevere, get that 2-year degree, finish. So here are some extra services. We do celebrate National First Gen Celebration Day. That's a big event. We do collaborate with other stakeholders on Cal Poly. National Transfer Week, that's a pretty dope event. Like we do our best to, again, provide services to transfer students. We also offer spring celebration. We honor our upcoming graduates with some festivities, food, a celebration, make it very wholesome. We offer weekly and monthly events and socials. So a couple of the workshops we offer, we've done in the past, CalFresh. I used CalFresh when I was an undergrad, when I went to Cal State Long Beach. That saved me, okay? Got me some groceries before this inflation. I'm a graduate from 2019. I'm already telling y'all, prices went up. So CalFresh definitely helped me out. We offer grad school preparation. Again, go beyond the undergrad. There's so much potentiality within transfers, more importantly, beyond the undergrad. So we do want to hit the ball running with that, start prepping you for grad school, seeing how we can help finance that for you. So grad school, big one. And you can't ever go wrong with financial literacy. I mean, come on, financial literacy. I'm trying to finance a car. I'm trying to finance a house. I'm trying to finance my income. Always goes a great way. So here are the campus resources we'd like to collaborate with. We collaborate with the Transfer Center, Student Diversity and Belonging. We collaborate a lot with BASE, La Casa. We're trying to collaborate a lot more for the upcoming year. Career Services. We have a fantastic career service counselor. Shout out to Jade, Monica, and Evie. They're great. Love them to death. Financial aid. We do collaborate a lot with Adrian, with Heather, Tatiana, Barbara. Fantastic there. We love them to death. Campus Health and Wellbeing. Got to get your groceries somewhere. Dean of Students, Dr. Joy Peterson is amazing, a very aspirational educator that likes to be there for the students. Housing and Center for Military Connected Students. So if you're a veteran, we do collaborate with them as well. Housing, we're trying to get that back in the rig, but upcoming news soon, shortly. So transfer days and slow days, we will be there. So your session is determined by your major. It's free for EOP participants. Also for our transfers upcoming for September 17th in 2023. Same thing, free for y'all. So keep that in mind. And let me see. I just want to be respectful of time. So we've already accepted our deadline. Woohoo. You're already in Cal Poly. Woohoo. And pretty much, let me just see. This is, you can stay connected. That's our official email right there. So if you have any questions, shoot them an email. If you our hours are 8:30 to 5 p.m. Pretty much we'll be operating during the summer as well. Don't follow us on Instagram because our Instagram got hacked. So we're just trying to figure that out. We have a new Instagram coming for y'all. So I do have a favor for all of my transfers to our EOP students. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat right now. And basically, if you're an EOP transfer student, please complete that for us, because in the past, we've had a lot of transfers ask us, hey, you know, I want to get more involved with EOP. I want to meet my counselors. I want to give some type of community building. By completing that form for us, we're going to try developing some type of meet and greet day, a Zoom day, something where you can meet us, your counselors, because most programs, and like EOP, we're with you to the very end. So once you start as a junior and coming sophomore, bada bing, bada boom, we're there for you till you're a senior, graduate. Want to see you with the robe, the title, the degree. I'm pretty excited because I'm going to be helping out the Black commencement and the Latinx commencement ceremony. So I'm saying things like that. We really do want to see you succeed. We want to see you thrive. So pretty much that is it with EOP. Any questions? Let's see. Wow, I thought WOW Week was the. Yeah, so WOW Week is always changing. Again, just check the website for that one. Again, I'm sorry for if the information is correct. It's always changing. So sorry about that, McKenna. But yeah, if you have any other questions I can answer regarding EOP.
For the EOP, are you guys still accepting applications, or if you guys already had the applications, do you guys reconsider them if we provide like documentation that might prove that we have need?
Unfortunately, for EOP, you have to have applied back in November, and you had to have done the little questionnaire that's on the CSU application. And I think it's 8 essays. Basically, if you had responded to those essays and completed the prompt, you would have been accepted or considered for EOP. So pretty much it's a one done hidden deal. Once you apply, you're already in Cal Poly. Unfortunately, you can't change it.
Okay, I see. All right, thank you.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Any other questions?
It doesn't look like it. And yes, McKenna, wow, this year is the 15th through the 23rd. Those were last year's dates, but like I said, it's always ever changing, but just so you know.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I kind of sorry about that, but thank you. Thank you so much for helping out with that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add before you head out?
Go Transfers.
Go Transfers.
Show you the least you need to know to succeed in library resources for your transfer time. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing a portal page. So one of the things that you may or may not know is when you have your Cal Poly password, username and password, right? You get a portal, and there is actually a library tab for the portal. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is kind of concentrated there. So instead of trying to fight your way through the whole library website, you can go to that portal page, and you're already logged in. So in some ways, it already knows that you're authorized for a lot of access to a lot of the different resources here. And so we're going to focus in this brief session on a couple of things. One is how to get help, and the other is your research. We're not going to focus so much on library services, although getting help obviously is a service. But the library is closing, you may or may not have heard, on Friday at 6 p.m. for 2 years at least. We're relocating this summer to other locations to start providing services, hopefully by the end of summer, but it's a crazy operation. So in the meantime, there's no reason for panic. If you already have your username and passwords, you can start playing with library tools right away. And so we are going to be closed, but we'll have service locations and all that information will be updated. But that doesn't mean you can't do stuff right away. So one thing, if you need help, so let's focus on help. If you need help, there is a 24/7, honest to God, these are human beings that staff this. Actually, if I bring up another screen and stop, let's see, are you seeing a picture of a bunch of people now? Or do I have to stop my share again?
I think you have to share again.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay, well, I will stop that share and I will share again, because these are the students that actually provide chat during the day. So they work at the research help desk and provide, this was our spring party at my house that we had. We have about 12 of them. We train the heck out of them. So the ones on the right side of the page, we trained for since January. So they're ready to go in fall to help you with citations, to help you with finding articles, to help you with, all kinds of different things, right? So they're trained. And so during regular hours, that's our students providing that service, and they're really well coached. And then when they're not on, it's librarians from all over the world. So if you think back, if we go back, and I'm going to reshare that other page, we're going to go back to that page and think about the 24-hour chat service. So 1 a.m, you can get help. It can be a simple question, it'd be a complex question. Another resource you have for help is the model at Cal Poly is each college has a librarian. I am the College of Liberal Arts librarian in addition to coordinating chat services and research help services. So you can figure out who your librarian is for engineering, for CAED, for cafes, and you can always make an appointment with them. You might just want to make an appointment just to get to know them and figure out what can you do for me. They can help on complicated things like senior projects, but they're more than willing to help on other things as well. They're going to be working this summer. We don't know where, but you can always meet on Zoom. Zoom's actually really good for these kind of sessions, in fact. So you could look there for your librarian or your specialist. And since you've already laid eyes upon me, you can always send me an email. I know email is primitive, but I use it. If you want to, you can do that. So there's chat, there's the librarians, there's me for that kind of help. Now, one thing I want to alert you to right away is there's a thing called OneSearch, which is a great tool. You can find all kinds of articles, books, and things like that. Your OneSearch account is not active until you get your Poly card. So there's some weird magical thing that happens in the background. After you get your Poly card, about 24 hours later, lo and behold, you have a OneSearch account. And when you're in OneSearch, then you can make requests, you can borrow things, but until you do that, get your Poly card, you can't do that. However, even without a Poly card, you can use the databases if you have a Cal Poly username and password, because that's your keys to the kingdom. Most of the resources we have are not print, they're not physical, they're electronic, and we spend millions of dollars every year on really good electronic resources. So if you're a gung-ho student and you want to go start doing some stuff this summer and you have a Cal Poly username and password, you can go in, oh my God, there's 264 databases. Well, what kind of database? Maybe I want to search by subject. Maybe I want to see the 9 databases that are really good for animal science. Presto, there they are. And there's the librarian for cafes, right? So this is a way to kind of get in here and see what's available to you. If I clear those filters, you can also search by database type. So we have law databases, standards, like ISO and ASTMs. There's also streaming video databases. We have some good foreign film collections that you can watch at home all summer if you've got your username and password. That's all you need to get into that kingdom. But you'll need to get the library, the Poly card in order for your OneSearch account to work. Now, another way to figure out what are the best resources for you to use are the research guides. So the research guides, we have them by subjects, right? So every major is covered, plus some other subjects as well. There's also some special topics guides. So one of these is how to use OneSearch and how to access library resources off campus. That guide walks you through all that. And there's even some quick how-to videos. So if you're like I was the second time around as a transfer student, I wanted to use everything to my advantage before I even got started. So you could go in and start looking at this stuff right away. When you're writing papers and stuff, there's a great guide here for citation help and annotated bibliographies. So, if you've got to use APA style or some other thing, it's really a robust guide for that. So these kind of look like this, right? So my colleagues and I put this together, but I'm the contact person for this guide. So we try to cover all the major styles. So if you're an English major, MLA, if you're a psychology major, APA, and history, Turabian. So that guide is good for all the students. I think that's been used about 4,000 times this year. Some of the others have been used up like 10,000 times. So those research guides are really a great resource for you to go to. If I go to a subject guide, let me go back to just a sample subject guide. Let's say you want to see what databases should I use for animal science. So these, there's 200 databases. How do I know which ones to use? This is telling you these are good databases for this or for government information. So that's another way to figure out what databases to use. You're always welcome to go on and go on to chat and ask for help for, it can be a small question, it can be a big question. Chat can do them all. Even the remote providers at night at 2 in the morning, it might be a librarian from the UK or it might be a librarian from Hawaii. I look at them. One of the things I do when I get up in the morning, I look and see what came in overnight. And if they didn't nail it or create a ticket for me, I will follow up because we ask you to put an email in there. So you get a follow-up on that if it's not the best answer possible. So there's certainly a lot of help for that. And then just to kind of briefly go into OneSearch. So OneSearch is the main search tool. Because we're moving, you may want to, this is where you'll find out what's available here and now, the day you're looking at it. This will be updated Friday when we close. Right now, it's going up till Friday. But that's one thing if you want to know what services are available and where. But OneSearch is a tool that you use keywords. The trick is to search and to filter. And if you're smart, you'll sign in first once you have your account, because then some of the databases won't even let their stuff show up. So if I was going to do immigration and mental health, something like that, right? And I'm using the quotes there for mental health because I want to get that exact phrase. It's going to come up with like bazillions of results. So, but what you can do is you can start filtering it. So if I have an account, I can sign in right away, right? I think I just signed into the portal, so it's already recognized me. Sometimes you have to type it, but there I am. I'm in here. I have, oh my God, 12,000 results. That's a lot, right? But what you can do is you can filter. Your professors oftentimes say, I want peer-reviewed journals. So you can say, okay, give me the stuff from peer-reviewed journals. They want maybe a specific date range. They don't want 1901, right? So let's say they want it in the last 5 years. You can go, my math is not good, but I'm gonna guess 2018 on that. And then now we've got the results down quite a bit from 12,000 original results to 2,000, which life is short, and that's a lot too. But this summer, if you're taking any summer classes, which I'm not sure you would be, or if you just want to see stuff, you could just say the available online at Cal Poly, because our books are not available for a couple months coming up because we're moving. But you could say, I want to see what's available online at Cal Poly right now, which means not but online available. So all this stuff is available to you online that way. So that's like my quick speech. The least you need to know, because I know you probably got a lot of information, and then keep your attention here. We have animals to keep your attention. Any questions before my time is through? Glad to answer questions. No questions. I can't believe I've been that succinct. Olivia, do you have any questions? Because you're working on campus and you heard all the brouhaha about the.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what's gonna happen with all the everything. I mean, it's gonna be closed for 2 years.
Right. Well, so they're creating temporary structures for study spaces, and those will give a lot, and a lot of the furniture that we have are going to go there, so we don't have to pay to store them. So there'll be places for students to study. They're using a couple of rooms in the University of U of U building. And in theory, although I haven't seen the proof of the pudding yet, some of the computers currently in the library will be staged there. So students will have computers to use there, which is good. We're going to have a service point in Crandall Gym. My office got moved there. My furniture got moved and all broke and fell apart 3 weeks ago. So, yes, Brooke, it is supposed to open again in fall 2025. I take that with a grain of salt, but for those of us who've been on this campus for a while, we know how long Frost Center took and how long, I mean, the Ave has not opened up yet, but we will still have services. The librarians are still available. So my office is going to be in Crandall Gym. It used to be a gym, and they've retrofitted it, new carpet, new paint. I got a nice office. My research help desk that I oversee and the students that work there will be there anytime, and they'll be doing chat from there. So you don't actually have to come to the gym, which is down by the stadium, right? You can just go on chat and still talk to someone, but you can go in person. And then there'll be a certain number of books we'll check out there. But it's an old building and its codes don't meet. It meets a very minimal number of people. Only like 60 people, 50 people can be in that building at once. And if we're all there at work, well, then that's half your capacity. So the services, printing and things like that on campus, ITS is dealing with that. And you'll be able to go onto the ITS page and we'll link to it as to where you can print, where we'll have like one scanner and a couple of, and maybe one printer in the Crandall space, but most of this place for people to come and do things. If there's any architecture majors in this class, the architecture books are the most heavily used print physical books. So that whole collection is being moved into the Crandall Gym because the architecture students use those heavily. and they need access to them. So they'll be able to walk in and browse them just like they would normally. So Brooke has, let me see Brooke's full question. Oh, I don't know who's going to enforce that. The library is not in charge of those spaces. The campus, so this is a huge campus project. I know that a lot of people think the library is just the library, but it has several other units in the library, like the writing center is going to be over in building 26 graphic arts. And that's a very, I hope there's no representatives from the writing center here. It's a very poorly named center. It's actually a tutoring center, and they help with writing. They help with statistics. They help with all kinds of stuff. So you should look up their Writing and Learning Center and see what they have up. Their service space is going to be over in building 26, pretty close to Crandall Gym. And they will have tutors there, but they have an online registration system. You can look and see all the courses they provide tutoring for, make an appointment with the right person for the right topic. So that's a service that's in the library, but isn't actually the library. So the whole project is a campus-wide project. And yeah, let me, where would we find well, you can just Google the Writing and Learning Center, and there's a page there. And actually, even on our current website, we have a link to not their webpage, but to the thing where you register to see who you can get tutoring with and when and stuff like that. And I'm not aware if you actually already have username and passwords as admitted students, but once you have that, you can start looking and making appointments. Oh, thank you for putting that in there. It's a great service. The kind of service that we offer at the library, the LibRats, that's what we call those students that you saw in the picture, the LibRats and the librarians, we provide like help with formatting citations and helping you figure out really difficult citations or simple ones, but also you'll have assignments where you have to have X number of peer-reviewed articles or statistics or things like that. So we can help with a lot of those things. And again, you can come to the Crandall space when it's open, when it's open, or you can just go online. We have a student one of the LibRats graduates Saturday, but as a student employee, you can work a full quarter, full time right afterwards. So he's going to be around all summer. In addition to giving tours for housing, he's going to be doing chat for us. So hopefully he'll be able to talk about the library. Any other questions? I think that's my 15 minutes of fame here. So just remember to sign onto your portal and go look at that library tab. The really essential stuff is there, but keep in mind that a lot of this, it's going to take us a while to amend the web page because everything that refers to anything in the building, that's kaput.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brett. And
Sure, my pleasure. Glad to do it.
now we are going to hand off to Hannah Steen, who will be talking about basic needs.
All right. Have a good evening, everybody. Don't
Thank
say
you.
strangers to chat.
All right, can y'all hear me okay? Awesome. This is my first time using this specific computer, so I was taking a chance on you. So thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here and talk with transfer students. I was just getting some feedback on my presentation from my husband because he was a transfer student when he was in college. So we've talked a lot about his experience and kind of what that was like. So I'm excited to be here. And kind of talk with all of you. I know you've had a big lineup of speakers, so I'll try to keep it to the things that are most important that you can remember. But a big portion of my presentation is going to be about food. So hopefully that will help you remember us and remember me in basic needs. Olivia, how long do I have?
You have until 8 o'clock if you would like.
Okay. I don't know if we'll go that whole time, but I'm happy to field and take any questions. So feel free to toss them in the chat too as we go throughout. And then, yeah, so we'll go ahead and we'll just get started. Let's see here. Oh, it says, hang on just a second. It's saying I need to, Okay, it wants me to quit and reopen, so I'm sorry, but I might have to jump off and jump back on in order to share my screen. Sorry about that. Let me do that really quick. I'll be right back.
No worries. New computer. I totally get it.
Yes, okay, here we go.
Oh, you're muted.
There we go. Okay, we're back. Thanks for hanging with me. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. If you don't mind to give me permission, Olivia. I think I have to have it again now that I exited the meeting. The woes of Zoom. Okay, here we go. Awesome. So, give me just a second here. Perfect. Feel out of practice with this. It's been a minute. Okay. Cool. Well, there we go. Can everybody see the presentation?
It's currently loading, it looks like.
It says the screen sharing is paused. Gosh, let's see. Resume share. It's weird. Give me just a second, everybody. Okay, how's that now?
I can see that now.
You can see it. Can everyone else see it? It's good now. Okay, we might just have to look at it with the window on the side. I'm not sure why. When I put it on the full screen, it wouldn't quite let me. It wouldn't let me show you the presentation, but that's okay. We'll just do it this way. No big deal. Information is the same no matter what. So, okay, let's jump in. So, as I mentioned before, I'm going to be talking to y'all about basic needs at Cal Poly. I'm new in this role. I've been at Cal Poly for almost 5 years. I'm originally from Kentucky. And I moved to SLO 5 years ago. So I don't know if any students here are from out of state or have ever lived out of state. But that was part of my story. And recently, about a month ago, I moved into this role with basic needs as a basic needs coordinator. So I know a lot about campus and I'm learning about a lot of the programs that we have to support students in their basic needs. So what are basic needs? Basic needs is defined as the fundamental minimum requirements necessary for a decent standard of life. This includes physical, mental, and social well-being. And we know that there are a lot of stressors that come from being a college student when it comes to balancing your course load with maybe work, social responsibilities, friendships, relationships, all those types of things. I was a former career counselor. I used to work in career services, actually worked with Olivia. And so thinking about, what am I going to do after I leave Cal Poly and how am I going to use this degree? And usually as a transfer student, you're there for a much shorter period of time. So all of those thoughts and plans and everything's kind of get compressed. And so as a basic needs coordinator, what I don't want is on top of the other things that you're trying to figure out and the goals that you're setting and the stressors that you're feeling, I don't want your basic needs, your fundamental basic needs to be things that are also adding stress to your plate, right? And so our office and my role specifically is to help alleviate some of those stressors if they are to pop up in your life. And so the Basic Needs Initiative is something that's CSU wide. So all CSUs have a support system to look at students' well-being inside and outside of the classroom, really looking at housing, food security, and also mental health. And then we have a task force on campus that I help co-chair. And these are people, faculty, staff from all different departments who are working to help expand basic needs support at Cal Poly. And the reason that I bring this up, because I know this is a lot of details, right, is just that I want you to know that there's support at a system level and at Cal Poly across lots of different subsets of people and departments who really care about basic needs. And so to kind of further define it, some of the things that we look at are things like food insecurity. So food insecurity is being without reliable access to sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food, right? And we're going to look at a statistic in a minute, but really we see this as a prevalent issue on college campuses, that many students don't have access to this sufficient quantity of affordable and nutritious food, right? And there's varying levels of food insecurity that can go all the way from, low to marginal to high. Another basic need that we know is housing, right? And so housing insecurity is something we also look at. It's defined as having difficulty paying your rent. Maybe you have to move frequently, you're living in overcrowded conditions, or you're doubling up with friends or relatives. And really in college, it can look like frequent moving or changing where you live because you don't have those resources. Also can be like temporary or chronic couch surfing. And then another thing that we try to provide on campus is emergency financial assistance. And so we're going to talk about programs that kind of hit on each of these areas and a few more today. Okay. And emergency financial assistance really comes in when a student might not be able to meet an immediate essential expense because of a temporary hardship or some sort of unexpected situation. Right. So let's look at kind of Cal Poly, and this statistic is specific to food insecurity, okay? So according to 2022 data, so that's last year, from the American College Health Association, at least 39% of Cal Poly students have experienced food insecurity. So that's almost 4 out of 10 students who have experienced not having access to consistent, nutritious, affordable foods, right? And so in a college context, again, what can this look like? That could look like skipping meals. It could look like portioning out your foods and eating less. It could look like eating kind of unbalanced or the same types of food every day. And then houselessness, which we already talked a little bit about before, is also an issue, not as prevalent as food insecurity, but things like couch crashing or couch surfing, things like that. I think the most recent statistic I saw, and remember I'm new in this position, is in 2018, it was reported that I think about 12% of Cal Poly students had experienced some form of housing insecurity. So I like to provide these statistics, and there's going to be a slide on this in a little bit, because some of these issues we can feel like if we're experiencing this, right? If we've ever experienced food insecurity, maybe we didn't even know to call it that, or that's what it was, but it can feel a little bit stigmatizing. It can feel like we might feel like we're going to be judged if someone finds out, or we might be reluctant to reach out for resources or things like that. Like, let's say we need emergency financial assistance. And I like these to provide these statistics because it shows that that you're not alone if you are experiencing these issues, and that other students are there too. So I just like to put that out there. So who's the basic needs coordinator? That's me. And I'm one of many people on campus who work in this realm of basic needs. But I like to think about my position as a bridge builder on campus. So let's say you want to learn about resources for food or to help with groceries or things like that on campus. You could come to me and I could either refer you out to other resources or connect you with programs on campus that can help you find access to food. Same for financial assistance and some other programs that we're going to talk about today. Okay. So I put some pictures up here that just so that you can get to know me and see that I'm a person just like you. Sometimes it can be scary and it can be hard to reach out to staff. Cal Poly is a big place. There's over 20,000 students. I have no idea how many faculty and staff work there. And so I just want to encourage you to know that there are people on campus who care about you and your success, and I'm one of them. And so just wanted you to be able to see a little bit of my life and get to know me so that you know that I'm a person just like you. I have a dog named Ozzy. He's a black lab. That was his birthday there. And then that picture on the bottom right there is my husband and me. We just recently got back from our honeymoon. So I put that picture up from that. So and then I am going to go into current programs, but I did want to just make a note too that even if you yourself don't currently or hopefully don't ever identify as housing insecure or food insecure or in need of some sort of emergency financial assistance, a lot of these resources and programs are still for you. You can utilize a lot of these resources and programs, and I recommend that you do so because you have access to them. It's part of being a part of our campus community. And so I just wanted to kind of share that there's resources here that are open to any and all students as well. Before I move on, I don't see anything in the chat, but does anyone have any questions that you want to ask in the chat about anything I've covered so far, or anything that I've shared, or anything that's just kind of popped up in your head? And you can put in the chat, you can turn on your mic and ask a question. Okay, hopefully we feel good, but if you think of one, please put it in there. That's what I'm here for. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is food resources, and we have many on our campus. And so I'm going to go through some of those. You can see them on the slide here. This is a photo of our food pantry garden. So we have, I think, 15, maybe 16 beds, garden beds that our students on campus and people in the community will come and do work days, and they're run and maintained mainly by our food pantry garden manager. So our garden manager is a student. And so that's an example of a student position, student job on campus. And I supervise the student that manages the garden, but the gardens provide fresh produce to stock the pantry. In addition, so it just kind of provides a supplement. We also order fresh produce to go in the pantry as well. But I'll talk about that more in a minute. So the first food resource that I kind of want to go over is just CalFresh Outreach. And so this is commonly known as financial aid for food. It's a federally funded program, and it provides money to students on a card. It's called an EBT card. That's similar to a debit card. And this can be used at grocery stores, or even at the Slow Farmers Market on Thursdays and other farmers markets to help you access quality food. So it's basically a preloaded card with funds that you can use at farmers markets and grocery stores to shop for food. CalFresh benefits can be up to $281 a month that you can use for groceries. And it's a grant-funded Cal Poly partner organization with support teams. And this statistic is a little old, so I don't know what this looks like now, but there are many appointments each week of students inquiring about this benefit, and they just changed the qualifications for this resource. So most students on campus, especially after their first year, which first-time freshmen, if you don't, well, I guess especially after your first year, if you don't have a meal plan, basically, most students are going to be will qualify for this resource. But even if you do have a meal plan, I still recommend going to the website. I actually have a QR code on the next slide. You can go ahead and scan this if you want to right now even. And I'll send this presentation to Olivia so you can have access to it as well. But you can scan this QR code and this will take you to a screener, and it's a quick screener. I've taken it. It takes like a minute or two, and you fill that out and it'll tell you if you likely are or are not eligible for CalFresh. But even if it says you probably are, you might not be, it's still a good idea to meet with the team. And so we have a team of students who consult on this program and who can help you determine whether you are or not eligible. And they can also help you with applying and getting approved and that kind of thing. So go ahead, you can go on the website to see what the eligibility requirements are. And then you can also do the screener. It's just a quick form to see if you likely are or not eligible. And then you're welcome to follow up with the CalFresh team as well. Okay, so the food pantry. So the food pantry is in my space. I'm in the well-being office, which is in the bottom floor of the health center. I don't expect you to remember that now when you come on this fall, but we're in the bottom floor of the health center. It's right in the center of campus next to the Cal Poly Recreation Center. So go to the gym, you'll see it right next door. We're in the bottom floor. This is food resource that is available to all students on campus. It is a no questions asked resource. We just ask that you are a current student. You have to show your student ID, swipe in when you come to use the food pantry. We are open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's the only food resource on campus that's open to all students. The food comes from many different places, donations, the Slow Food Bank, and then different rescues and produce sourced from different grocery stores and the food pantry garden, and also the on-campus farm. So it's a big cross-collaborative partnership. We have seen massive growth in the use of our food pantry. And so this is definitely a resource that students are utilizing all the time. Last year alone, we saw almost 10,000 visits in the food pantry, serving over 3,600 individual students. And that increased from 600 in 2019. So it's really grown. This year, we saw almost 10,000 students or 10,000 visits, in fall quarter alone. So the food pantry is really growing. And so you can come visit us in Monday through Friday in Wellbeing from 8:30 to 5 if you want access to the pantry. And these are some photos that just kind of show what it's like. We have canned non-perishable foods. We have a freezer and a fridge that we stock with fresh foods, fresh produce, meats, cheeses, yogurts, milk, things like that. We have the garden, which we already talked about, and then we do offer toiletries, menstrual products, even diapers for students with dependents. Okay, so another food-related program, Olivia, I am going to go till 8 o'clock. I said I wasn't, but here we go. Another food-related program, meal vouchers. So meal vouchers are a short-term assistance. It's supplementary assistance for a hot meal on campus. You can receive up to $75 a quarter to assist with meals on campus if you qualify for a meal voucher. And so the meal voucher program is funded through our campus dining. And also a program called Mustang Meal Share. And that's students that donate unused meals that they have on their dining cards. And so if you want to see if you are qualified for a meal voucher, or if this is something that you could receive, you can learn more about it and apply at basicneeds.calpoly.edu/meal voucher. And then the last one for food is the food bank distribution. This happens on one of the campus lawns once a month. I think it's the fourth Tuesday, of the month, all year long. You don't have to register. You do have to sign a form that says that you meet the income requirements, which are listed on the food bank website. You can expect fresh produce, shelf-stable items, and a meat-based protein. And our next distribution is June 27th, so coming up really soon, from 3:30 to 5:30 on Mont Lawn in front of the gym there. So feel free to stop by to these once you are a student and come to campus, and we have them every month on the 4th Tuesday. Okay, I want to pause there again and just see if you have any questions about meal vouchers, food bank distribution, food pantry, any food resources I shared about. Okay. All right, so the last few slides here, and I only have 4 or 5 more, is just to talk about other related or other support and resources related to basic needs. So as we talked about before, housing is a recognized basic need. And so students facing housing insecurity are directed to an application that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. So if you ever find yourself in this situation, there is emergency housing that's temporary that can be provided. And in 2021, 2022, 25 students were hosted in emergency housing on campus. And then I also have resources on off-campus places like warming centers, shelters that I can provide you as well. And then, yeah, just to note that we believe that all Mustangs deserve a safe and reliable place to sleep. That is so true. And so again, if some of these are hard issues, and I know that to talk about and to talk through and to think about. And so if you're ever finding yourself in a situation like this and you're needing support, don't hesitate to come and to talk to me or to another person that you trust on campus so that we can try to get you the best resources possible. Okay, we haven't talked about clothes yet, but clothes are another resource. One that we have on campus is through Career Services. And so Career Services accepts donations for professional clothing, and they're available to students at no charge. So you can take up to 3 items per visit, usually no questions asked. And so hundreds of students use this resource every single year. And so we have professional clothes there. And recently I've noticed outside the building, they've had other clothes that have been donated to them that don't really fit their professional clothing requirements. And so they're just leaving those for free outside of the office. And so you might see those on campus if they continue to do that next year. Another resource that we offer are financial wellness resources. And so these are programming that I'll get to direct this next year to help students when it comes to planning for financial future or just helping you with personal finances. And so some of the examples last year were extreme couponing, building credit, investing, and how money works, smart savings. So we know that finances, financial management, all that can go into affecting your day-to-day quality of life. And so we want to be able to provide some programming and resources around that as well. We also had a past virtual workshop on our low-income taxpayer clinic on campus, which is supported by our accounting department on campus and accounting students on campus, which is really cool. And then the last resource I want to share about tonight is Cal Poly Cares. So this is that emergency financial assistance that I was referring to earlier. This is limited financial assistance to currently enrolled students who might not be able to meet a current expense that's essential and immediate because of some sort of hardship that you might have experienced or an unexpected situation. So maybe there's some sort of medical situation that has happened that has led you to not be able to pay rent for a little while or something like that. And so there's lots of different scenarios and situations that that this could apply to, but each application is reviewed on a case-by-case basis. But typically, you do need to have a financial aid or DREAM Act application in order to be eligible for Cal Poly Cares. Good thing to note about Cal Poly Cares is that funds are awarded like a grant, so you don't have to pay them back. Long-term financial needs, if you have long-term questions, can be addressed with the financial aid counselor, and the funding is usually limited to a lifetime maximum of $2,000. In order to get a Cal Poly Cares grant, you do have to have exhausted your other financial aid options, including any loans that you might have been offered through financial aid. So that's just something to be aware of. Okay, last couple slides, and then take questions, and then we'll wrap up from there because I only have a couple minutes. So I just again wanted to mention this stigma that can be associated sometimes with accessing basic needs resources. Maybe it's the fear of being judged. Maybe you're feeling a little bit ashamed, or that you're not as deserving as someone else. Maybe your situation is temporary, and so you feel like maybe you don't need the help. I would just say that it's always worth it to reach out. It's always worth it to seek the services and seek the resources, or at least just come in and have the conversation. And so I really want to help you all feel empowered to take part in advocating for your own basic needs, and to making sure that you feel supported in that, and that those can be met, so that you can focus on the other important things about being a student, right? The least of which is not graduating. So I don't think I said that phrase right, but you know what I mean. So that's kind of the end of my presentation. This is my email address. So if you have any questions for me, you don't feel comfortable, or you don't want to ask now, or you think of something later, you can shoot me an email. But if you do have questions, I'll stop share, and I can take those questions now. Oh, I like the cute cat, Kennedy. That's really sweet. I should put a picture of my dog on my Zoom so that everyone can see him. Any questions? Okay, well, if you think of any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And thanks to Olivia for having me. And welcome to Cal Poly, y'all. We're really stoked that you're going to be here this fall.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I appreciate you taking the time out of your evening.
Totally. Oh, and I see Carrie. Hi, Carrie. Oh, thanks, Carrie. Oh, there she is. Cool. Okay, well, you're in good hands. Is Carrie next? Is she next on the agenda?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, y'all are gonna love Carrie. Okay, well, I'll leave you to it. Have a good night, everybody.
Awesome. Alrighty, so now we are going to give you all the opportunity to enter into one of the two breakout rooms that we have. We have military connected students, and then Disability Resource Center as well. Carrie, and then I believe it's Sarari. I don't know if I'm saying your name properly, but if you would like to give a quick spiel, that way our students know which room they want to enter into.
Sure, I'm happy to go first. I'm Carrie with the Center for Military Connected Students. And so excuse me, I've had the hiccups all day. I am here to talk about educational benefits for anyone who served in the military, is currently serving, or whose parent or spouse served in the military. There are all kinds of educational benefits, and I'm here to help with any of that. So anyone that falls under that, please come into my breakout room.
All right, well, my name is Sarai. I'm one of the access specialists at the Disability Resource Center. And if you attend my breakout session, we are basically going to be talking a little bit more in detail in regards to DRC accommodations. This is specifically for students that are either, unsure if they do need DRC accommodations, what do DRC accommodations look like, or for students that currently do receive, disability-related accommodations college, or if they had a previous IEP or 504 plan, we can further discuss those accommodations in that breakout session as well. So feel free to stop by.
Awesome. Thank you all for coming. So now it is up to you which session you would like to join. And I just want to remind you, we do have our second session coming up in July as well. So keep an eye out for that email that will be coming to you through admissions. Thank you.